Hi guys, welcome to Yogipreneur. My name is Alina and today we're going to discuss yoga insurance. This is the topic that a lot of yoga teachers don't want to get into because this is just hard, and trust me, I know. When I first got my first yoga insurance, I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. So hopefully this video will help you in that sense. Let's get started. In my video on how to become a yoga teacher, I talked briefly about insurance and its importance, and I told you a story that happened to me during my first yoga teacher training. I'm going to link that video in the cards and down below in the description so that you can see that. But without repeating that story, I'm just going to tell you that the day I graduated from my first yoga teacher training, I got my yoga insurance. I knew I wanted to teach right away. I just went online, typed into Google yoga insurance, and I got a few links. I clicked on them, and just somehow, very randomly, I decided to go with one of them that, I don't know, I guess the colors spoke to me, and I just went for it. The good news was that from that day, I had yoga teacher insurance, and I never, ever taught a class without it. And that's something that I encourage all of you to do. The bad thing is that I actually had absolutely zero clue what was happening on my insurance policy. I had no idea what's in it. I just knew I had an insurance and I thought I was protected. And unfortunately, that is not always the case. So the subject needs a little bit more research than that. And I've done some for you, so I'm going to share it with you in this video. So first thing I want to tell you is don't be overwhelmed with this. Don't be scared of this topic. And yes, it doesn't sound like it's a yogic topic and we don't want to get into it, but it's actually not that hard. Once you start researching, and actually once I started researching this, I realized that there are not a lot of companies that are competing with one another. There are a few companies, and you see those names over and over again, that are there just to provide you a yoga insurance. And there are a few national companies that provide general insurance, and they also can give you a professional insurance as well. So in reality, there are not a lot of companies to compare. Don't be overwhelmed. Just start looking into it. And that's my best advice to you. So once you start looking into it, here are the main things you want to compare and you want to look into. First of all, obviously, rates. And that kind of goes without saying, but yes, you don't want to overpay, but you still want to make sure that you are covered. So the regular yoga insurance would cost anywhere from $150 to $400 per year. So yes, it is an investment, but no, it's actually not going to break the bank. And in my opinion, it's so worth it so that you later on can easily teach your classes without having second thoughts about your cues, about your adjustments. Obviously, you always want to be very safe and careful with these students, but knowing that you're insured and protected and safe, it's absolutely priceless. So you do want to spend those money on your insurance. And especially if you're teaching and you're still a student, there are some student discounts that I have found online, and definitely look for them. Some companies provide them, so that might actually bring the price even lower. Another thing to look at is the hidden fees, and most of the times they're actually in the membership fees. This is me talking about those companies that are just specialized on yoga professionals, on yoga insurance, and usually they do have membership fees. It's not necessarily a bad thing because generally you get a lot of perks for those membership fees, but it will bring the price a little bit higher. So consider what is more important to you. If at this point in your life you don't want to spend any more money on your insurance, then go for one without a membership fee. And if at this point of your life you're more interested in different perks from a certain organization, let's say Yoga Alliance or Yoga Journal, then definitely look into it because they might have exactly what you need. The next thing to look into is are you covered? And that sounds crazy, right? I just purchased the yoga insurance. How can I not be covered? But make sure that the services that you're providing are covered by your policy. What does that mean? There's so many styles of yoga, there's so many types of yoga, and if you're teaching, let's say, acro, or if you're teaching restorative, make sure that that is what you have on your policy. And especially if you're teaching something completely outside the box, again, make sure it is there, make sure that you're protected. Because if your insurance only covers hatha yoga, then most likely you will not be protected if someone gets injured in your yin class. So just something to be very mindful of. And that's another thing, read what you sign. So when you're looking into the policy, when you're looking into your insurance, you want to read before you purchase. You want to read before you sign your name on it. The third thing to look into is where you're protected. Okay, here's the trick. Most of the policies will protect you in the yoga studio. But what if you teach outside? What if you teach on the beach or in the park or at someone's home or a private in a gym or somewhere else? Make sure that those places will also be covered if someone there gets injured. Make sure that you're still protected. Another thing to look into when you're signing your insurance. The next thing to be aware of, what is professional liability and what is general liability? And it looks like those companies, especially for me, at first I thought they were trying to trick me because so many words, I have no idea what that meant. Let's get it straight. Professional liability is something that kicks in when a student gets injured directly from your cues and maybe from your adjustments, so something that comes directly from your actions to the students. That's your professional liability. The general liability is, let's say, you mop the floor in the studio and then your student slipped, fell, broke an arm. God forbid that happened to any of you, but that's when the general liability kicks in. Ideally, you want to be protected on both sides, so you do want both things to be stated in your insurance. Be mindful of that. Read for it, read for those exact words. The amount of money that you want to be covered for at the moment is around $2 million. It used to be a little bit less. It used to be around $1 million, but when I was looking into it, in the last couple of years, there has been more and more cases when people were sued for bigger amounts. So the industry standards have risen in the last couple of years to $2 million. And again, you want to look separately into how much money you are covered for on each occasion and total throughout the year. Those are usually different numbers, just the things to look for. One more thing to look into is deductible. And that is actually hard to look into because not something that those companies are going to put on the front page of their website. You might have to either start signing up for the insurance to get this question answered, or you might have to call the representative and talk to them directly on the phone. But before you put your name on an insurance, you need to know how much money you will have to pay out of the pocket, God forbid something happens to your students. And remember this, it's better to spend another 30 minutes on the phone with the representative than later be very, very sorry that yes, you were covered for, let's say, $2 million, but you have to pay the first $1 million out of your pocket, which obviously sounds crazy, but you have to know those things. Don't overlook them. And the last but not least, it's actually something very, very good. Look into different extra benefits that you can get from your insurance. Since you're already spending all that money, there are companies that provide some extra benefits just to stand out of the crowd. There are companies that would give you a free professional website, or they would cover stolen equipment or other things just like that, something that yogis need. And usually these things are provided by companies that just focus on yoga professionals. So make sure you look for it, because those are some good things you get for your money, since you're spending all that anyways for the entire year. So those were the main 7 things that you want to look into when you're choosing your insurance. And I know that it's actually quite a lot of information that I just poured on you guys. So I did a little bit of research of my own, and I'm going to put the link right below this video to the file that you can download, where I have compared 10 different companies for all these criteria, actually even more criteria than this. So I've done a little bit of homework for you. It doesn't mean that you have to take any of those policies. Those are just some examples. One more advice I have for you new teachers: if you're looking for a policy, ask around for the teachers in your town, in your city, because there might be some area specifics that we have not covered in this video. So your local teachers might be able to recommend you something that would work the best for your city, for your town, for the style of yoga that you're teaching. Always have that option available. Don't be afraid to ask around. Thank you so much for staying with me for this video. I hope it helped you a lot in this whole yoga business madness, in this insurance policy thing that yogis just absolutely hate getting into. And I know, because I'm a yogi and I hate the topic, but hopefully I just shed some light on it and you can see that it's not as scary. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the bell so that you don't miss on the future videos, and drop the comment below if you have more questions, or if you have an insurance company that you're currently using and you would want to recommend to others. We're always looking for new resources. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you back soon.